Welcome, guys, to the race war and part 1 of our beginner tournament round. Today, the bridge battle. Now, I learned a lot from last week's episode. Don't make the maps too big, otherwise it'll take a really long time. And that's why I made this in just the general normal size map. And so for this, it's going to be the bridge battle between the orcs and the elves. I'm going to place one of each on each side of the bridge. Make sure we got them both there. We do. Going to pump it up to 5 times speed to get up the nations real quick. And there we go. I want to get all these to 10 population. And let's come up with a clever name for them. We are eternal in the land. Neverland. Honestly, that really fits the elves. Then we are eternal. Bad movie. Have you guys ever seen the Eternals Marvel movie? It's not that good. So we got Neverland and the bad movie. And now, I did some testing with this map a lot, and I found something interesting. No nation at any point will build a dock unless there's very much room for it to expand, which I fixed with this only small straight line, as well as having nowhere to go with that dock, such as colonization of another island or trade with another nation. So for hundreds of years, they would build no docks, but they'd have the technology. So eventually, once we reach 100 years of age, I'm going to take off the line, they're going to finally build some docks, and they can invade however they want from there. And as for the ages, I have only set it to the age of hope to not have it be randomized and have other contributing factors to one's necessary win. Now I'm going to pump it up to sonic speed so we can get to year 100 and start the chaos. The elves are really boosting in population ahead of the bad movie, though they are starting to catch up. One thing we will see, especially from my testing, is that, if you want to take a look at this real quick, seems like they're both still level 2, but the elves are at 2.4 growth, while the orcs are only at 1.2, and that will increase over time, so eventually the elves will overpower the orcs with technology-based items. Which is surprising, because from what I found from playing this game is that the elves, they get population a lot faster, plus they also get really high technology a lot faster. But the orcs, they also have a fast population growth, as well as being really strong, whereas the elves are weak. But they're slow at technology and stuff like that. And that's part of what the series is about, to find out the strengths and weaknesses of each nation. Seems like they're both filling up their areas pretty quickly, though Neverland is falling behind the bad movie. The bad movie keeps trying to set up the same village in the same spot, yet it's just failing. But it seems like Neverland is starting to get some population up, especially starting up that new village. And it's going to be at year 100, since they're going to be practically at the same spot. I'm going to release them and let diplomatics presume. It is year 100 in the Age of Hope. And it is time to tear down this wall. Gotta make sure I don't destroy everything. I'm gonna go one more up. I spent a long time last night working on this map, trying to make sure it would be perfect, that it would allow docks to be built, as well as invasions to happen. It is year 100 in the Age of Hope, and it is Neverland versus the Bad Movie. We'll see who declares war first. Diplomacy is turned on, and there is no rebellions. Sonic speed. Let's see how long this takes. Bad Movie's already declaring war against Neverland. No, before we do that, let's check the war. Wow. The orcs have nearly double the army of the elves, and that's really unusual since normally a lot of nations... Well, this is different, actually, because for my Galaxy series, it was a lot of people against the orcs, but this time it's a lot more orcs than the elves. But, honestly, what is the technology like? Wow. In 105 years, the elves have gone to level 23 for their technology. Though the only weapon they're making are swords, but they do have higher levels of metal. But the orcs, they don't have as much in the way of metals, but they are also only making swords. But they got a lot of houses and statues. I am going to slow this down because this is a really early war. You can just see the orcs are just coming in, wiping out that farm and wiping out some other areas up here. The orcs are just ruthless. And they're nearly 100 population over Neverland. I bet I can guarantee that if I gave them an extra 50 years like I did in the other video, the elves would probably be winning this because of the population difference. And just because they'd have to go through a narrow strait. Though from this, they aren't really doing naval invasions, which was the original plan. But for this, with the island in the middle, that it means it's a whole lot easier for one nation to get to the other. And the orcs are just wiping out the colonies one after another. All of them are just falling, especially the capital. The orcs might not have much in the way of army, but neither do the elves. Especially since a lot of their army is still over here, and it's not all of them in here. The biggest army they got is this 20 area over in Aenor. But that colony is going to be gone, and there it goes. And yeah, there's an army of 16 over here. Let's watch this king, as he most definitely goes down. Yep, to Ord O's. Soul of... A wooden stick, a legendary weapon called the Soul of Bad Movie. Wow, that's hilarious. I think we can guarantee that stuff like this will be very interesting to watch. And Neverland's under 100 population, and it's dropping quickly. Wow, this is going fast. But that's the entire point of this. It's supposed to be fast, it's supposed to be simple. But, for those of you who might not know, next week's episode, it'll be the same map and same concept, but it's going to be the humans versus the dwarves. And then I'll have the winners of each of these battles go against each other. And why is the Bad Movie trying to declare peace? They declared peace against Neverland. You know what? They were going to kill them anyway, so I'm going to spite them. They're supposed to be at war anyway. And there's no way the elves are going to return from this. Yet the army is finally going in. Now, right before they get destroyed, let's see what levels they're at. The elves made it to level 26, and they had some pretty good stuff. Sure, they only made swords, but that's not really that good. They were making armor, though. Huh. Interesting. Technology is always an interesting thing. What did the orcs have? Level 16. They were making axes. Yep, I bet that really helps them. And the elves are gone. And the bad movie won. And now they're going over 400 population in year 131 of the Age of Hope. I'll see you guys next week for when the dwarves fight the humans in the bridge battle. Enjoy!